when there's a winter storm but you have zero groceries in your fridge, so you gotta go grocery shopping. So I was gonna go to Whole Foods, but this storm is getting a little crazy, so I'm gonna go to a closer store called the Health Nut. It's basically like Whole Foods on crack, so it's still okay. It's just more expensive. First thing I'm grabbing are eggs. I always go for pasture-raised and organic eggs. Don't be fooled by the free-range ones. Those are a big fat scam. All right, so I know that I want to make some hamburgers tonight, so I'm going to grab some cheddar cheese. And this is me struggling, trying to get it off the hook. I generally like to go for organic for all of my groceries if I can. Next up, I have 100% grass-fed beef with 15% fat. The more the better. I love supporting smaller farm-to-table brands, and as you can see, this has 15 grams of fat. So a serving of this would be great for a keto meal, especially when you add mayo and cheese to it. And you know, I got to get some ketchup for my special sauce. If you know anything about In-N-Out, you know what I'm talking about. I love the Primal Kitchen brand. It's very clean, and as you can see, it only has 2 grams of carbs, so very keto friendly. Next up, we have pickles for a nice tangy flavor and crunch. I love making chickles as snacks, and it's very keto friendly with only 1 gram of carbohydrates. I also like to look at the ingredients for citric acid and try to avoid it as much as I can. The Health Nut is more expensive, but I love the consumer experience. It's always just relaxing and not crazy packed like Whole Foods all the time. As you saw, it was crazy out there, so I just grabbed a few things for the day from a closer grocery store, which I do love. I love the Health Nut. It's just a lot more pricey than Whole Foods. So I just grabbed things that I'm gonna need to eat today, like emergency items like eggs and stuff. But I spent $33.87 on like 5 things. So yeah, but that'll get me through the day, and then tomorrow I could go to Whole Foods and get my other batch of stuff. I'm always stocked up on avocados. They are a great source of fat, and I love adding them to all of my foods. So I always make sure that I got them on deck. Look at me fumbling the avocados, trying to find the soft ones. I also love to go for microgreens versus their parents because microgreens are a lot more dense. They have a lot more nutrients and they fill you up better. So I love my microgreens over like my grown-up arugula. Next up, I love getting the fat cucumbers because I slice them in half and then I put cream cheese and salmon on them, so they almost work as a bread replacement or like that bagel replacement. Has a really nice crunch and super juicy and 0 grams of carbs. Garlic, of course, adds flavor to any meal, so it's always good to have that in the fridge. I always go for wild-caught salmon versus the farm-raised salmon, and I'm getting the jumbo pack. It is a little bit more expensive, but it's more cost-efficient. Great source of protein and omegas, not super fatty, but once I add the cream cheese, it does the trick. While I'm here, I'm grabbing some white vinegar. This is solely for me to clean my floors and to do my laundry. I love snacking on olives or adding them to any meal. They're super keto friendly, high in fat, and low on the carbohydrates end. And just like the pickles, I like to look out for citric acid, and these ones only have olives, water, and sea salt in the ingredients, so perfect. Continuing our omega journey, I also love grabbing some wild tuna. When I'm in a rush and don't have time to cook, this is a perfect meal to mix in with some mayo and some olives on the side and maybe some pickles, and you're good to go. Super nutrient dense and filling. Again, I like to go for the family pack because it's more cost efficient and it has a long shelf life, so you don't have to worry about it going bad. I love cheese and dairy and anything creamy, so I'm going to grab some brie. In general, creamier cheeses have higher fat content, so I do like to look out for those ones. And more cheese, I'm going to grab some shredded mozzarella because I am going to try to make little like mozzarella chips as a snack. I'll get back to you on how that worked out. This cheese right here is super keto friendly and delicious. It's one of my favorite go-to cheeses. So it has 11 grams of fat for every 2 grams of protein, which is a great 3-to-1 ratio, which is generally what I like to look out for. And more cheese. So I always have cream cheese on deck. It's super keto friendly, great 3-to-1 ratio. As you can see, it's about 10 grams of fat to every 2 grams of protein. And of course, butter. I love cooking eggs with a bunch of butter, and I also like putting it in my matcha in the mornings to add a little bit more extra fat. And heavy whipping cream. I love supporting this smaller Amish brand called Skytop Organics. Last time I got this, it was expired. It does go bad pretty fast. So if you're gonna go for this, just make sure you drink it quickly because it is non-homogenized. It does go bad a lot quicker. A lot of people don't know this, but cat food is actually super keto friendly. So I love sneaking this in my meals from time to time when I'm also in a rush. Psych, just kidding. This is for my cat. I am not eating this. I was just messing around with you guys. Ha ha ha. And last but not least, we have mayo. Again, I like going with Primal Kitchen mayo. That is my favorite brand. It's very clean and very tasty. All the flavors are great. I like going with the garlic aioli one. And again, I like using this to mix in with my tuna or just on the side of like a burger. It's really great in fat, so adds that extra fat if you need a little bit extra in your meal. All right, so my total is a whopping $185.07, but hopefully this food is going to last me for about 2-3 weeks. Thanks for shopping with me. Hopefully that was helpful.